Did you press the live? There we go.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome, episode 85 of Office Hours with Nora. We got a special guest today. What a time to be alive. We don't have special guests very often, but we have got Justin, last name Good.
Oh man, I feel special.
Justin's our first ever special guest.
Really?
Yeah. We've never had like.
Oh wow.
I know.
Hold on, let me. I should have put on a better outfit. I didn't know I was like the first special guest. Hold
on. No pressure.
No pressure at all. All right, cool.
But perfect. What a time to be alive. Listen, Nora and last name Good. They're throwing Den Music Fest. Wait, hold on. Are we 2 weeks away? Oh, two and a half weeks? Less than that?
Yeah.
November 2nd.
Oh Lord. Yeah. So yeah, it's coming up quick and fast. If you hit the link in the description, you can grab your tickets. There's a lot of good names coming through. And hold up. Wait a minute. We have a historic Den Music Fest happening because it's happening in 2 locations. Have y'all done that before?
No. Okay. Can I just get hyped on this? Because I'm so excited. Okay. And we'll get into the storytelling, but Justin and I met in 2017 in Atlanta and started Den Music Fest. Like we literally met in the chaos of A3C. Ace Harris was like, Justin, Nora, y'all do festivals, meet each other. And so Justin and I like met in this chaos and we're like, all right, we should talk. The next day we sat down and had coffee and literally over like maybe a 45-minute, 60-minute conversation decided that we were going to work together on Den Music Fest. Since 2017, we've steadily done a show every year in Atlanta. During COVID years, we did virtual sessions, which are online. I really encourage people to go watch those. And then last year, we came back with like a real proper, like it just felt so good to like get everyone together. Yeah. We were like, that's amazing, but we want more. And so in Atlanta, but I live in LA and I love Atlanta. Atlanta's great. Like, but I've always wanted to bring Den Music Fest to LA. And so this year, for the first time, we're doing Atlanta still. We will always do Atlanta. We love Atlanta. And also we're doing LA. And so we've got an amazing lineup of artists for LA. And I'm like, I feel like one of those infomercials, but wait,
there's more.
We also have a whole week of virtual workshops and talks and mixers. So there's like an artist producer mixer where folks can play their music and connect and collaborate. There's workshops on how to do a good performance so you get booked like festivals like ours. How to Descendant is teaching a workshop on like content creation for people who hate content creation, which all of us, like we all really need that one. We've got a talk on the criminalization of rap and drill music. Like there's just a little bit of everything for everyone so that even if you're not in LA or you're not in Atlanta, you can still tap into the virtual stuff because we believe that hip hop should be for everybody. And this is one of the ways that we're trying to do it. So I'm like so excited on our lineup and our schedule. And we haven't even started to name names yet, but it's going to be good. Speaking of, y'all, shout out to Cardinal Blue, who is going to be on our LA stage on November 9th. Super excited to have Cardinal with us. Okay, I'm going to just get hyped and get more hyped, so I'm going to stop talking.
Oh, good.
No. This is fantastic and incredible. Like, so, you know, you link up at A3C, right? How do we go from, all right, let's start a festival? Because I mean, listen, I've with my bros, I've been like, yo, let's start a band. Like we should start a band. Like, let's do it. And then it's just like, wait a minute. It takes a lot of work to start a band. So how do you start from meeting to building something like this?
So prior to meeting Nora, I was doing like these monthly shows in Atlanta, right? So, the thought first came up honestly, I'll be super transparent. The initial thought came up was when I kept trying to like get on A3C. Like I was trying to like, yo, like I'm trying to help really, right? And I was constantly rejected. And I was like, you know what, man, let me just do my own festival, right? Now, to be honest with you, my background, like Nora mentioned, this is straight out the den. So I started that blog in 2012. And the blog is like underground hip hop, just really a platform for indie artists, right? And so that's always been my MO. I always wanted to help indie artists along their journey. And doing those shows around the city, it got to a point to where it was like, okay, I've been doing this for a couple of years. What will happen if we try to do like this at a larger scale? And around that same time, Ace Harris, who Nora mentioned, that's like one of my best friends, right? And so he was like, yo, you should meet Nora. She's good in the festival space. Like she did a festival. And if you need somebody to like really help bring that to life, you should meet Nora. And so it just so happened that, like Nora said, A3C runs around, and Ace was like, yeah, she's here for A3C, bro. Like, I'm gonna introduce y'all. And like literally in the middle of a crowd, we meet. We was like, okay, cool. Nora, Justin, how you doing? Boom, boom, boom. And we went from there to like planning. And mind you, the first festival we did was in November. A3C was in October.
Yeah.
And we pulled it together in like a month's time to do a full-fledged festival. And it went off without a hiccup. I mean, the artists were very supportive, all the talent was supportive. And I mean, coming off of just like 1 month, like in 4 weeks, putting that together, I was like, yo, what if we had like more time? And I mean, we've been rolling since then, right? Like, that was 2017, you said, Nora? Yeah. So I mean, we're 7 years in, and it really was just that. It was just like that, a very small conversation of an idea with someone that had the experience of using that idea, like her experience of how to put it together, my experience of just facilitating shows and having the relationships in the city. And we got together and we made magic. I truly believe we made magic. So, and now here we are 7 years later.
I think one of the things that allows me and Justin to work really well together, and to your question, Sto, of like artists get together and they're like, oh, we should do this thing, and then sometimes it stalls, is Justin and I have like shared vision, shared values. Like there's things that we really like. We really believe in supporting independent artists and like all of that stuff. So we're really aligned on certain things. Mm-hmm. And then we have two very different skill sets. Like I could never do anything website. I'm like, Justin, fix it. And I'm the one like sending forms and Google Doc. Like we have two different skill sets. And so we get to the things that I don't like doing, he handles. The things that he doesn't like doing, I handle. And so we end up, and this is it, it's just me and Justin. Like we don't have a team or like anything like that. And I think one of the things with artists is they oftentimes are in spaces where it's just the same skill set, same groups, same. And so if you're really trying to build something, sometimes looking for people who have a different skill set or who can do things that you can't do is helpful in putting together a team of whether you're trying to do a festival or a show or your own event or whatever it might be, that like looking at all the different skills is really helpful.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay, before we actually get into like the nitty gritty, I kind of need to know how y'all pulled together a festival in a month for this first one. How?
So we made that first festival as easy as we possibly could, right? And so, like I said, Straight Out the Den was a blog. It kind of coincided with the anniversary. Gosh, I want to say that may have been like the 10-year anniversary. No, that would have been the 5-year anniversary. And so kind of just using that as a foundation. So like, hey, I'm going to invite artists that are already familiar with Straight Out the Den and put on this festival. So that way we don't have to really worry about, where's this weirdness, right? Like this new festival. So there was some familiarity already there. with doing it. And so I think that really helped us with that transition over. As far as logistics wise, that's all Nora. Like, all I know is, yo, I know these artists are dope. I know they'll put on a dope show. I have a relationship with the venue already, so like that was easy. But as far as like logistics and like how to, we need forms to make sure we can get all this information as opposed to going through, your phone and these. So what Nora was great at was kind of breaking the relationships that I have with the artists, because early on, one of the early, and I may be skipping ahead too far, but one of the early issues that we had is that artists have the relationship with me, so they felt that they can just get on the phone and call me and think that, yo, I know LastName Good, so let me call him and maybe I can get a slot on the festival, or maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. And so Nora acted as a buffer to be like, yo, bro, we can't do that because this is not going to work in the long term. And so we got to a space of like, now you need to holler at Nora. Like, holler at Nora and let's see what Nora says. And just adding the structure, I think was the key. Nora added the structure. I had a lot of the creative portion is like just like the idea of how to do it, but as far as structure wise, that was all Nora, and I'm thankful for her, because I don't think we would be going this long off of just me saying like, yo, I got these relationship with artists. I would have got burned out a long time ago, just being honest. So yeah.
And I think that's also part of how the festival has evolved. We started, like Justin said, we started very like simple. We didn't do open submissions is new, speakers is new, like 2 stages, virtual is new. And we've allowed ourselves to grow and change every year. And the other thing, and I think for a lot of artists, the hardest thing in starting is having the space and the venue. And like, we could not do Den Music Fest without like the relationships in the community. Like, the Music Room was a great venue partner until they closed down. And now Live Hip Hop Daily, where we're hosting this year's Atlanta show, they've given us their space for the last 2 years. Our LA venue, Slide Through the Venue, is giving us their space this year. And so, and we have a ton of other partners who are supporting in different ways. And so you can't, at this stage that we're at, right? We don't have huge money. We don't have huge sponsors. You see the team. And so we've done a lot of work, both of us, both individually, like just as who we are in people, but also intentionally around Den Music Fest to build that community. And so people show up and support us, and we can ask for those like relational things, because it's hard, especially now with like Live Nation buying everything and Golden Voice, it's hard to do the thing. And so having that community and having those relationships with artists, we had DJs show up last year who supported us. Like, our host is a friend who's down to do, and not because we think like in our dreams, we would pay everybody. But I want to answer Cardinal Blue's question. Did y'all get grants from the city? How is it financed? No, we did not get any grants from the city.
We wish.
It's literally, yeah, I'm not even lying to you. This year, we raised, like, just to be fully transparent, we raised $750. And that's because 160 over 90 gave us a small, like, they gave us a little bit of money because they're invested in like cultural stuff. And to be fully frank, the only reason we were even able to get that money was because a friend of mine works there. So we had a direct, like, again, like really working the relationships. And so when I say that this is DIY, I don't get paid off of this. Justin doesn't get paid off of this. It's literally just the little bit of money that we were able to raise, and then whatever we can get off of ticket sales. And also because we talk about this all the time, but if like A3C came and was like, we're going to buy you out, we will say no, because we're not here to take money from anybody. And we want to keep it independent. We want to have freedom over who we get to put on our stages and stuff. So that's the balance between like, and this is the last thing I will say, but also I think we attract artists who share this value. And so when you come to the show, it's intimate. There's no ego. There's no VIP. People are there to really connect and build community. And that's part of, I think, the work that we've done throughout the year, and not just like in this promo cycle that we're in. Cardinal Blue, thank you for that question.
Yeah. All right. Excuse me. Halfway through the episode, yo, grab your tickets. They're in the chat actually, but they're also in the description. It's right around the corner again. It's not even just performances. We've got speakers. We've got other events outside of just the performances themselves. So make sure you grab your tickets. Now, here's the thing. Of course, every artist wants to know exactly how do you go about picking artists and whatnot.
Well, look, Sto, that's a great question, and you would think that it is super easy, right? But it hasn't been. It hasn't been. The way that we go, we do have a process, right? So our process now is we have a form. You submit, right? And we are huge on saying fill out the form in its entirety and answer every question and fill out every blank. And you'll be amazed at how many submissions are disqualified just because they don't do the small, right? Like we'll have someone say, we'll ask for a link to your live performance, and then they'll write NA. And I'm like, how can we look at you as an artist, as a performer, and there's no footage of you performing, right? Now, yes, we are mainly a do-it-yourself festival, right? We are not in the tiers of a quote unquote A3C or One Music Fest or anything like that. However, we have integrity and we have standards. And so this is not the I just started performing festival. That's not who we are, right? We believe in sometimes you have to go and get your bones in certain places and then come back to us. But we want to make sure that you're a quality performer. So if you come rapping over vocals, there's a good chance that you're not going to be on our stage, right? We want to make sure that you have a real message and not just talking just to be talking. Like, I mean, we really take our time. And mind you, Nora and I really have similar values, but our taste in music is not necessarily the exact same, which makes it great, right? Like there's some things that I love and there's some things that she doesn't love. And there's some things that she loves and there's some things that I don't love, but we meet in the middle, right? Like if there's something that if we both going through a submission and we're like, no, that's not it, we're not wasting time. Go to the next submission, right? If there's something that I may feel strongly about and Nora doesn't, then we'll put that as like a yellow and then we'll come back to it with fresh ears. But there's a real process. It takes time. And, our lineups are curated for the best possible festival that we can put on.
Oh, Nora.
No, I'm thinking about some of the things. I mean, I think so. One, because Justin said yellow, because we have spreadsheets. We look at every single submission. Like and that's why it takes us sometimes a long time to get back to people because we go through and really spend time with everything. And we don't look at your social media. We don't look at, oh, this person has 30 million followers, so we're going to put them on. Like everyone is really considered equal. The other thing I would say is like, and this is some of the stuff we actually are doing a whole panel on like good performances and the art of performing during the festival with Marcel P. Black. But just submit a performance of you. We asked people to send a submission. We saw Prince covers. We saw like behind the scenes footage to Kanye West songs. We saw like an interview of themselves. We saw all kinds of things that were not performance videos. And this is why still like you and I have talked about this in other episodes around like what to pay for and pay to play and like the value of those things. And there's so much value in having a solid 1-minute clip of you performing that shows how you perform, how the audience is interacting with you, of you with your song. I didn't know that's something we've had to clarify. Please send a performance video of you performing to your music, but
it happens.
That is something we have to say.
It happens.
Okay, I wanna kind of go back on honestly some things that both of you were saying here. Like I like people see Den Music Fest and they're like, well, it's not Coachella, it's not A3C. why does it matter if I put in a performance clip? Why does it shouldn't matter if I put NA because I'm just getting started. And like even last name we're talking about how like this shouldn't be like your first introductory performance or anything like that. Like you're looking for quality and stuff like that. Why is that so important? I mean, obviously, like that's self-explanatory, but like some artists, I feel like they're like, well, I know I know I put NA for this, but like my music's good, so what's the problem?
Well, part of that is just filling out an application. Like let's keep it a bug, man. Like if you go to a job interview and you fill out a job application and you don't put information that they ask for, there's a good chance that your application will be set aside, right? And so there's no different with us. The information that we ask for on the form is important to us to make an informed decision on who you are as an artist and if we want you on our stage. So if you can't do those small things, right? Like we've had artists who we'll ask for social media, right? And we've had artists who only have, they may only have Instagram, right? And so if you only have Instagram, put your Instagram handle. That's cool with us, right? We're not asking you to be on all 30, platforms. Like, no, we want to know where you are so we can look at your social media and make sure you don't have any foolishness up there, number one. See if you're actually utilizing your social media as a performer, right? Like we've had people submit to say that they're an MC, and there's nothing on their social media that clues to us that they are an MC, right? That's not really going to fly with us because we're missing an opportunity for someone else who's going hard at promoting themselves as an artist, right? That's really curating their art and really spending time on their craft. And if that's not you, it's cool. It's just not, you're not, for us. And that's okay. You may be for another festival, and we're okay with that. We've had people with 250,000 followers and they lead with that. Yeah, I got 250,000 followers, and and if you go to there, and no shade, but in most cases, when we've seen the people that have like the high level of followers, when you see their performance, it's not good. I don't know why that's the case, but we've seen it, right? Versus somebody that has 3,000 followers and they're killing it on every performance video that they sent. They sent 5 performance videos. They want you to see them in different elements. So that to us says like, this is somebody that takes their craft serious. They're taking their phone out, or their friend is taking the phone out, and they are videoing them every single time they have a performance. That's valuable information for us to have to make an informed decision. So
the other thing is that like we're asking for information that we need. And so how you fill out the form tells me how professional you are. If I ask for your bio and you're like, well, someone was like, ask me for my bio. I am asking you for your bio on the form. So that tells me, and again, like we're a small team, it's just the 2 of us. So if I have to go through extra steps to like work with you, it tells me, one, that you're going to be difficult to work with, that you can't follow directions, and that you're not aligned with the values of our festival. Like you want someone to hold your hand and cater to you, and that's not what we're about. Our artists come for sound check, they stay for the whole show, they support each other, they like there's no ego in it. And so that form might seem really like something flippant to you, but to us, it gives us so much information, because what we're curating isn't just, oh, you're a good performer. We're curating a whole experience for the audience, but also we're very artist focused. And so we're trying to create a space where the artists who come on our stage, or the speakers who are going to be at the virtual conference, can connect and collaborate and work together. And so if you're coming here on some like, oh, I'm different than everybody else, I'm special vibes, it's probably not going to be a good fit.
No.
Okay, we've honestly gotten a chock full of information in here, but I still want to ask one more question, because especially with this festival and doing 2 locations, one, what are the challenges of that? But 2, you're also adding kind of like, again, more of it's not just about the performers, right? Like there's a whole there's panels, there's people speaking, hosting workshops. So talk to me about how we kind of got to that point, and how, you know, all the challenges that kind of come with that, and how you're able to balance that all.
Well,
can I say?
Yeah, go ahead, Nora. Go ahead.
The hardest thing, and the thing that like stresses me out and like keeps me up at night, and I'll wake up. Justin and I have 3 hours time difference, right? So when I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm like, okay, it's 9 o'clock, he's probably awake, and I'm like texting him all the things that I've been anxious about over the night, is communicating the time and space. So marketing big picture and getting people like excited enough to come, to leave their house to buy a ticket, but very specifically communicating time, location, and space across 3 different places. People aren't used to thinking of like they're very used to thinking of a festival as like a finite thing. And what we're doing is we've built a 7-day festival literally across time and space, and communicating that. I think we're still figuring it out as we go, and are like, okay, we need to tweak this or change this flyer or do this thing. So that's been, for me, that's the most challenging, stressful part.
Yeah, no, I agree on that. And you know, I'll put it like this. It really mirrors how music is put out today, right? And just bear with me for a second. So you know how we've had even like the Kanye Wests in the world, other artists, they'll put out music and then all of a sudden, you know, the order changes, right? Like it may have had 13 songs when it came out, and then like 2 days go by and now it's 15 songs, or small edits in the song. And what we did, we took that approach, like we're doing things on the fly. Yes, we try to have things as professional as possible. We try to have everything as final as possible, but the reality is things change, right? And so the reason why we got to this point was due to COVID. When the world stopped, things went from large scale to smaller scale, right? And so we pivoted as well as a company to make sure that we can provide a quality festival, but not worry about trying to get 1,000 people in a spot, right? Yes, it would be nice. However, we're being realistic. So when COVID was happening, we all were glued to our phones and to our computer screens, and we were being entertained when the world shut down. And so we took that approach to say, like, hey, we can be in many spaces with this festival if we take that approach. And so let's do LA, let's do Atlanta, let's do all of these things. But we created a problem for ourselves because there are a lot of logistics. I'll say for me, the biggest issue for me that I have is that I don't know LA, right? Nora knows LA. And so I know that in Atlanta, I know how artists react to I know how people react to certain artists. And so when it comes to building lineups in Atlanta, I can do that, you know, with my eyes closed. LA, I have no idea. I don't know what the fans in LA like. I really don't know that. And so a lot of this process have been leaning on Nora, like, yo, you think this is cool? Like, what about this artist? Like, what? Yeah, I don't know how that is. And so there's some anxiety on that end for me, just in terms of like, yo, is this going to be a good fit for LA? And it's new territory for both of us, right? We don't know what will happen in LA. There's an unknown. But what we can do is just keep the same approach that we've always had. Let's put quality people on the lineup, and we're hoping quality people show up to see those quality people perform. And so let's just keep it going, and we'll let you know how it happens on November 9th. We'll let you know what happens, right? When we conclude everything. But so far, so good. We're feeling very strong about the festival.
Perfect. Okay. Hey, this has been an interesting, like a really nice, like inside peek into how building something from scratch works and stuff like that. Before we get out of here, do we want any kind of lasting words as we head into the week of Den Music Fest and whatnot?
I do see in the chat, Cardinal Blue wanted to know, will there be food? There will be some food consumption. No, there'll be like snacks and, you know, things of that nature. And, you know, who knows, we may have a food partner that pops up, you know, but every year we've had food there. So there will be something to eat and there'll be something to drink there. So no worries on that end. Food trucks, we don't know about that just yet, but you will be able to get something while you're there for sure.
But we are still looking for vendors. So if you have a food truck friend or a fruit cart connect or something like that, send them our way.
Absolutely.
Word. Love to hear it. Love to see it. And Music Fest right around the corner. My goodness. Again, everybody, we appreciate you all for tuning in. This is definitely, I think, one of our longer episodes. I think it might be our longest, which if so, I love that. Grab your tickets below. Make sure, again, there's an LA date and an Atlanta date, workshops, performances, people speaking, panels, everything. And again, it's built by two people that actually care about the landscape at large. And so make sure you give the support and whatnot. And then, yeah. This was a really, really interesting episode, and I really appreciate both of you for just breaking things down and whatnot. Both LastName Good and Nora's, and obviously mine, information for following and whatnot is down below. Anytime for more questions. HCMS, anytime for more questions. I don't know if we have more.
Ask.
Yeah,
I love
ask away.
Ask away.
Yeah, if you got something that you want to ask, definitely just throw it in the chat and we'll throw it on the screen and go from there. Which honestly gives me time to ask at least one more question. What exactly does preparation, like even day of, look like for something like this? Obviously, you've done Den Music for multiple years at this point. Okay, we'll get to that question here in a second. But yeah, what does that look like?
So for us, I mean, Nora and I, we on a normal basis, we meet weekly, right? And through that process, we'll have different ideas that come on the table. And so for us, there's always a run of show, right? There's a run of show for Atlanta, and there'll be a run of show for LA, and there's a run of show for the entire festival. So for us, day of is all about full preparation. So if the doors open up at 4, we're trying to get to the venue by 2 to make sure everything is set up, make sure our artists are there to do sound check at 3. We try to do a very quick sound check. Make sure your levels are good. You don't have to run through the whole song, fam. Like, we need you for like 30 seconds to a minute. Make sure everything sounds good and clear for the sound guy, and then we can move on to the next thing. But our goal is to try to get as many things done up front before the day of, so we can really have a smooth festival, the smoothest festival as possible. And so, but yeah, Nora will tell you, we had a run of show. Like, fam, when I say we have a run of show, we were texting today to like make sure we got this run of show down, and like we're probably gonna do some more texting before it's all said.
I will say I share everything with the artists, so the artists know all the details for the day. They get emails, and the emails are like, Den Music Fest, da 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 da. Please respond, and I highlight it. Like, so they're informed on everything. They don't just show. I think that's one of the places where people make mistakes, is they don't communicate to this, like, the performers. So we do a lot of that on the back end. The day of, like Justin said, it's like we're trying to have everything done as much as possible, but also, like last year, Justin and H were setting up the speakers and sound, and we think a lot about how the space looks and feels. So we're moving furniture around, or we're putting pillows out, or like, that kind of stuff. Because part of, Straight Out the Den came out of the idea of den, like your living room, and you're listening to music in your house with people, and even like the intimacy of the three of us here from our respective homes, and like my Halloween decorations. But we want to create a festival that doesn't feel like you're just a body in a big empty space. We want to create a space where you're comfortable and cozy. And I think that really facilitates the intimacy of it. And then the part that people don't remember is we also stay afterwards and clean up. Which is like a real thing. And I think we make sure to like drink water and eat, because those are long days and we're running around and the adrenaline is pumping. And so that self-care is also, I think, another part that as event producers, we don't think about. I'm going to throw HCM's question, which is, what are your thoughts on doing live shows in a bandstand at a park? Do you have any advice?
Well, I'll say this, HCM. I mean, that's a good question. I don't have the experience of throwing a festival at a bandstand at a park. However, I would say with throwing any show, you want to work through your logistics as much as possible, right? So for me, Nora will tell you, just like she just said earlier, I'm big on sound, right? I have a producer and DJ background. So for me, sound is super important. So at a park, one of the biggest things that you have to deal with is it's a truly open space. And so with the space being open, there's nowhere for the sound to really bounce. So speaker setup will be key in that type of space. You want to make sure that and this is assuming that you're setting up in a place that doesn't have this, like you're bringing that. And so, but yeah, I would say just logistics wise, making sure where your artist will be before, during, and after. All of those things are really important, especially the bigger of the space that you get. If you don't have like a green room type of space where your artist is going to chill, like do artists throw their music to the DJ? Like it's just logistics wise. With anything that you're doing as far as putting on a show, I would strongly suggest to get as many things done before the day of, because day of is going to be hectic. Even if it's smooth, it's going to be hectic, right? So like try to get as many things done as possible.
The other thing you want to think about in a public space is what do you want the movement of people to be? Where are they entering? If it's a ticketed event, how are you going to make sure that people are only entering and exiting through the places that you designate? I did a show in Liberia that was like on a beachfront, and there were walls, and then eventually people just started going around the ocean to get in, because like we were at capacity. We so in public spaces, there's some of those logistics that you want to think about. And that's the kind of stuff that I really recommend, because it's a public space, finding public partners. We do all of our events in private spaces, so it's contained, but that's the kind of, you might want to get a neighborhood council or a community organization or something like that involved, because if you're going to take up other, that's like community space you're taking up. And so you want to make sure that the community is part of that. Also throwing up Cardinal Blue's question, what does the marketing budget process look like locally in LA and Atlanta? The marketing budget is zero, is nothing, is out of that $750. We're trying to, so like, I think we're going to do some like social media ads in LA, where the Ill Spot, who's a friend of mine, has been really generous in helping us to support some like street team stuff, putting ads in some places and things like that. We're also really encouraging, like, the best people to talk about Den Music Fest is not me and Justin, it's the artists and bringing in their fans and like bringing in the speakers and bringing in their communities. So we're really trying to support them as much as possible. But we're open to all the ideas.
Yeah.
And all the suggestions, and especially because LA and Atlanta are both very different cities. And I think we know Atlanta really well, and we have some name recognition there, but we're brand new in LA. And so like, it's two different things, and we're doing a lot of learning, which I think is important to highlight, because a lot of artists want to do things and start their own show or do their own thing and expect to start at 100. And it's okay. Like, plan for your learning.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of what you're investing in. So next year that we do LA is going to be so different than this year that we're doing LA. So, basically we're figuring it out. But also we're open to your suggestions.
But I will add this as well, though, Nora, Cardinal, just generally, as far as the process, man, if you're looking into more like fundraising, try to be as creative as possible. Like this year, our fundraising efforts didn't stretch like we would have liked them to. However, I mean, we got we got funds, you know what I'm saying? And so anything really helps. And so I would try to get as creative as possible, man. Try to, speak with local people, local businesses, community leaders, things of that nature. Someone that has ideas. Like for us, we didn't raise a lot of money, but we had relationships that we were able to utilize. Like we have venues that we are not coming out of pocket for because they believe in our vision. And so, yes, it's not a dollar amount, but if we would have went another way, these are thousands of dollars that we would have had to spend that through a relationship and believing in our brand and brand alignment, we're able to make some things happen. So I would definitely say try to reach out community wise first. And also don't be afraid to open up and ask some people that love what you're doing if they want to help, right? Because our main sponsor this year came from a relationship that Nora had with somebody when she asked, like, yo, we need help. Are you able to help? Right. So don't be afraid to ask those questions to people around you who believe in your vision.
Yeah, I will say too, we started talking about money and fundraising early, like January, February, and spent a big chunk of our time actually trying to figure out the money and the budget around this. And so like the more you could plan ahead for the money, the budget, the logistics, that the relationship building, like give yourself that time. And just personally, like for me, I'm not used to asking for help. I'm not used to and I have, I think a lot of us have friends who are doing big things, who have access or relationships or whatever it might be, but that's not why we're friends. And so it was challenging to, I talk about the festival and then someone says, well, what do you need? And then for me to be like, well, actually I need money is not something I was comfortable with. And so even after doing this work for so long, I think there's just realizing where your own kind of challenges are and then pushing ahead and learning how to talk about it. Because we should all just have money to do these things, and we abolish billionaires and give us creatives money to do fun things. But alas.
Right.
Alas. Y'all knew I had to throw it in there.
No, absolutely. Sorry. Lost my train of thought there. But yeah, no, again, just hearing about the process in general has just been really enlightening, and hopefully, honestly, we can just use this for artists as you both continue to throw festivals. Now, here's my last question before we get out of here, and I know obviously you're still figuring stuff out for even this year, but what does the future of Den Music Fest look like?
Nora, you want to go?
No, I want to hear your answer.
So LA is a test, if we're being transparent, right? And it's a test that we are willing to bank that will end up, being a good thing, right? And so I kind of alluded to it earlier in the conversation, where we want to grow as a festival, right? And there are so many places there are so many artists, right, over the world, all over the US, everywhere. And so for us, we want to use this as a test. If this is successful in LA, we can easily do the same thing in St. Louis or, New York or New Jersey or whatever, Texas. And so our thing is we want to be a hub for discovering new artists, right? When you think of new artists, we want you to think of Den Music Fest. And so part of that is let's focus in, keep the artists first, and explore these small pockets, because as you can see, it's happening even on a larger scale. Your major artists are taking over the smaller venues now, right? Your platinum selling artists are in your hometown playing the 1,500, cap rooms. And this is happening. And so what we're doing is trying to get ahead of that. We're not worrying about being 50,000 people in one place. That's cool. And we're not going to run from it if it happens, but we feel that we can utilize all these different pockets all over and be global as Den Music Fest and still get the same thing done. Because at the end of the day, I have my phone, I have my computer. I can look at a festival at any given time, any, we just want to be in those pockets so we can celebrate and uplift those indie artists that need the help, that really need the help.
Yeah, same. And the only thing I would add, I'm very excited about the idea of Den as a spaceless festival, and that we can just move and and then this year Casey Phillips, who's a producer friend of mine, is doing studio sessions with our LA artists, and so we're also creating music, and I'm really excited about bringing artists who are all hip hop but very different styles and sounds and creating something. And so I think for me, as I think about the future, making Den Music Fest not just a place of like connection and discovery and collaboration, but also creation, is really fun and exciting. And I'm excited for people to hear the music that will come out of these sessions that Casey's doing for us.
Absolutely.
Word. All right. Yeah, we definitely broke a record now, which is fantastic. I love it. Yeah, before we get out of here, if you want to talk about what you got going on and where we can find you, there we go. Bring it to on here, and we can call it a night. Hopefully, still grab your tickets. Like honestly, 15-minute mark. Try to do every 15 minutes. Definitely grab your tickets. They're right. The description's right below. You can see everybody that's performing. Again, there's 2 locations, workshops, panels, performances, everything that you need in a really good festival with really good people that are worth, like, there's no way you don't leave Den Music without new relationships, friendships, and stuff like that. So definitely grab your tickets.
I will take your hand and introduce you to someone that I think you should meet. Like, no, 100%. Like if you come and you don't know it, it's a great festival to come to by yourself, because you will leave feeling like you're part of a community. And I will make sure of that. And Justin will make sure of that. And as always, y'all, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share this episode, because the more we share these kinds of things, the more we normalize new ways of doing business and interacting with each other in the music business, which is what Den Music Fest is all about. And which is what Office Hours is all about. HCM says, have a great time at the festival. I'm from Europe, so I won't be able to be there. We would love to bring the show to Europe. And we are at least live streaming the Atlanta show.
Yeah.
Not sure about LA yet. We're working on that. So tons of ways for people to tap in. Definitely check out LastName Good on all the socials. Check out Den Music Fest on all the socials. All the links are below. Y'all, music is important. Art is important. Community is important. And that's why all 3 of us do what we do. And shout out to all the artists who are also making the music.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Make sure you subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Peace, everyone.